Today on Up Front, is the Republican presidential nomination now Donald Trump's to lose? Next, a Trump nomination and what it could mean for the future of the Republican Party. My guest is Wisconsin Republican Congressman Reed Ribble. Then, what if the November election is Trump versus Clinton? The poll numbers that say more than a few people are going to be uncomfortable. Plus, he surprised some by finishing first in the primary for Milwaukee County Executive. But can Senator Chris Larson do it again in April?
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Up Front. Another wild week in the race for the White House. A Republican presidential debate Thursday night turned into a bare-knuckle brawl with Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz hammering the GOP frontrunner Donald Trump. The chaotic scene reflected the new reality that Trump could well be the party's nominee. It's a prospect that some in the GOP are still trying to wrap their heads around. The brash billionaire businessman has now won 3 states and leads in the Super Tuesday states. Even some Wisconsin Republicans are warming to him. Trump now leads the GOP field in Wisconsin, getting 30% in the latest Marquette Law School poll. But one prominent state Republican who has said he won't vote for Trump is 8th District Congressman Reed Ribble, who is retiring after he finished his current term. And Congressman Ribble joins us now on Up Front. Congressman, thanks very much for being with us. I wanted to begin by asking you about the Thursday night debate. Did you see it? And if you did, what was your reaction to it?
Yeah, I did see it. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of all the shouting and talking over each other. I would prefer that we actually delved in a little bit deeper into the issues. However, I thought Marco Rubio was especially good on Thursday night down there in Texas. I also thought that Governor Kasich did a really good job. And for the first time, Mr. Trump actually had to start to answer for some of the past behavior that he's had. It was good.
So do you think, Congressman, that this is a turning point of sort? Because right now it appears, if you look at national polling, that Mr. Trump is in a pretty dominant position.
It sure does. And Mr. Trump would say, and as he has said, he feels he can walk onto the streets of New York and shoot somebody and his people will stay with him. But I think some of the things that might give some pause are the fact that he ran into problems by hiring undocumented workers for a project that he did in Trump Tower. And he also had an issue with workers down in his resort in Florida where he had 300 applicants from U.S. Citizens. He only hired 17. Now, this is from a report in New York Times. He only hired 17 of those while simultaneously asking for 500 immigrants to come in and do the work down there. And so he talks one way about immigration, but his personal behavior is something different. And I think that those are new revelations for many American people.
So what do you think would be the impact on the party if Trump were the nominee?
Well, I think you'd have some real concerns for down ballot. And so in places where we've got members of Congress or members of the U.S. Senate that are in blue states, those seats could be tougher to hold. You need a strong top of the ticket in those places. I don't view him as a particularly good candidate against Hillary Clinton, and most of the polling would bear that out. And Mr. Trump is big on citing polling, but he's not big on citing the polling of him against Hillary Clinton. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz both do better than Donald Trump does as a top of the ticket Republican.
Under any circumstances, you have said on this program and in other interviews that you cannot support Donald Trump as the nominee. There are a few in your own party who seem to be warming to the prospect of a Trump nomination, that he could be somebody they could work with. Have you reconsidered your position on that whatsoever?
No, I've actually gone maybe even more firm in my position on it, especially in light of the debate down in Texas, that I just feel that the Republican Party would be much better served, but more importantly, the American people and this country would be better served if one of the other candidates that we have in the field would ultimately emerge as the nominee.
And let me ask you about the Trump phenomenon, and that is that there are people who are passionate about his candidacy, people who feel that the system is broken, that Washington simply doesn't work. They want an outsider. They want a business person. You're a business person. Do you understand that sentiment that's being expressed by people?
Well, sure, I understand it, but I think it's misplaced. The very thing that has made them angry is the very thing that apparently appeals to Donald Trump. They give Donald Trump a complete pass on the very same things that they're angry about, because they will cite the president overreach and over-promising. They cite Congress overreaching and over-promising, but that sums up the entire Trump campaign. And replacing the president with Mr. Trump is not going to change the dynamics in the Congress at all. It certainly isn't going to solve the problems that they have, and it just seems a little bit unusual to me that they're reacting, but I do get the frustration because I feel it and experience myself, and I'm inside Congress.
You mentioned the dynamics of Congress and your experience. You've announced that you're going to retire. You said you want to spend some more time with family. People understand that. But did your experience in Congress and the way business is or isn't done, did that have any role in your decision?
You know, there's a multiple of things that play into it. My family is the number one circumstance. My oldest grandson's now 12. He was only 5 when I first started into this endeavor. That's the driving thing. But it would be disingenuous for me to say that the frustration of the way things work here hasn't played somewhat in the role. Now, in fairness to my colleagues, since Paul Ryan has become Speaker, he certainly has broken through some of the gridlock, and things seem to be working much better right now.
And so would it be an overstatement when people say that Washington is broken? Do you think that's no longer true, or is it still true to some extent?
No, it's still true to some extent, and there are certain reforms that I've been pushing on since I came to Congress that I think would help fix a lot of those problems, but there's nothing more attached and compulsive about the status quo than the Congress of the United States. They really embrace the status quo, and we actually need to shake up the status quo. And I think that's what the American people are trying to do with sending this signal about Donald Trump. However, I think both Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, for sure, and quite frankly, Governor Kasich, would equally shake up the status quo, except that they would understand it better. I'm very concerned about Mr. Trump's really shallow understanding of the issues, his lack of specificity related to the policies that he wants to get done. We can't just say it's going to be just wonderful and we're going to get sick of winning. I got to know exactly how that's going to happen, and he's not been able to articulate that.
Final question, and I've just got a few seconds left. Do you think that you'll return to politics at any point in the future?
There's nothing in my plans at this point. I think going back to a more private life and spending more time with my wife, my kids, and my grandkids is something I'm really looking forward to.
Congressman Reed Ribble, the Republican from northeastern Wisconsin, we appreciate your time today. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Mike.
And now tell us what you think. Are you supporting Donald Trump for president? Do you think he'll win the nomination and the White House? You can tell us by liking and sharing Upfront on Facebook. Coming up next on Upfront, a tight race for Milwaukee County Executive. State Senator Chris Larson pulled off a primary upset over incumbent Chris Abele. How Larson says he'll repeal a power grab. That's when Upfront continues.
Upfront with Mike Goucher, brought to you by the American Transmission Company and the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association.